say something uncomfortable?
Go ahead.
Asking for help in English doesn't feel like asking for help.
What does it feel like then?
Like admitting something you're trying to hide.
Yeah, that sounds right.
It's not just about the task.
It's about how you'll be seen.
Exactly.
People worry it makes them look
Incompetent.
unprepared.
Or worse, replaceable.
That fear gets louder in English.
Because your words already feel fragile.
And now you're adding vulnerability on top.
Let's pause there.
Okay.
Why do people associate asking for help with weakness in the first place?
Because of how work culture talks about independence.
Figure it out.
Be proactive.
Don't bother others.
Those phrases sound strong,
But they quietly punish questions.
especially from non-native speakers.
Because they already feel like they're on trial.
Every sentence feels like evidence.
Let's drop a real moment.
All right.
You're at work.
You're given a task.
The instructions are fast.
A little unclear.
You understand maybe 70%.
That's the dangerous zone.
Exactly. Not confused enough to ask immediately.
But not clear enough to do it right.
So what do people do?
They guess.
They stay quiet.
They hope it works out.
And when it doesn't,
The mistake feels bigger than it should.
and then comes regret.
I should have asked.
But asking felt risky earlier,
So they chose the quieter risk.
which turns out to be louder later.
That's a pattern.
A very common one. Here's something people don't talk about.
Tell me.
Asking for help isn't one skill.
It's many small skills stacked together.
Timing,
Tone,
positioning,
language choice.
and confidence management.
Most people only focus on the last one,
Be confident.
which is useless advice.
Because confidence isn't a switch.
It's a result.
Let me challenge you slightly.
Okay.
I think people don't actually fear asking for help.
Then what do they fear?
They fear the response,
Interesting.
the pause after the question,
The facial reaction.
the tone shift.
That moment where they imagine judgment.
Exactly.
So the anxiety is future-based,
Yes,
which means the solution isn't perfect English.
it's expectation management.
Lowering the emotional weight
How do people do that?
by changing how they frame the request.
Not what they ask.
Right.
There's a big difference between
I don't know how to do this.
and I want to make sure I'm doing this right.
Same gap.
Different energy.
One sounds helpless,
The other sounds careful.
and careful is respected.
That's the hidden shift.
You're not asking because you're lost,
You're asking because you care about accuracy.
which reframes everything.
Let's talk about silence again.
It always comes back.
Because after you ask,
There's often a pause.
and people panic in that pause,
They rush to explain more.
they apologize.
They weaken their request.
But silence doesn't mean rejection.
Sometimes it means the other person is switching context,
Processing.
remembering,
So holding that silence,
can be part of asking well,
it shows steadiness.
which contradicts the idea of weakness.
Here's another uncomfortable truth.
Go on.
Some people wait too long to ask for help,
Not because they're shy,
but because they want to prove something,
to themselves,
or others.
that they can handle it alone,
That's exhausting.
and unnecessary.
Work isn't a solo performance,
It's collaborative,
but language learners often feel
like they have to earn the right to ask,
that's a heavy burden,
and it slows growth,
because learning accelerates with questions.
not silence.
Let's zoom out for a second.
Okay.
If someone listening right now,
Is avoiding one question,
one email,
one message.
one message because it feels weak,
Here's what they should know.
the weakness isn't the question.
The delay.
Delay creates pressure.
Pressure creates mistakes.
Mistakes create fear.
And fear keeps the cycle going.
Breaking it starts small.
One clear ask.
Not dramatic.
Not apologetic.
Just direct.
We'll get into how in the next stretch.
Yeah,
Because phrasing matters.
a lot.
But mindset comes first.
Otherwise, the phrases won't stick.
Exactly.
Okay,
Let's pause here.
not end,
Just breathe.
because what comes next?
Is where people usually get it wrong.
You said something important before we paused.
About where people get it wrong?
Yeah,
Most people think asking for help is about wording.
like finding the perfect sentence,
The safest sentence.
the least embarrassing one.
But that's not the real problem.
What is then?
They ask too late.
That timing changes everything.
When you ask late, it feels like damage control.
Instead of collaboration,
Exactly.
early questions sound responsible.
Late questions sound defensive.
That's the unfair part.
So asking early isn't weakness.
It's positioning. Let's put this into a real office moment.
Okay.
Your boss explains a task.
Fast.
You catch most of it.
But one part feels fuzzy.
You tell yourself,
I'll figure it out later.
that later never helps.
Because confusion grows silently.
Now imagine a different response.
You interrupt gently,
Not dramatically.
not apologetically.
Just, quick check. When you say X, do you mean Y or Z?
Notice something?
You didn't say, I'm confused.
You didn't say sorry.
You framed it as clarification.
That tiny shift protects your authority.
Because leaders clarify all the time.
They don't guess.
Guessing is risky.
Clarifying is strategic.
Here's where English learners struggle.
Tell me.
They think clarity requires long sentences.
Or advanced vocabulary.
But clarity often comes from shorter language.
Short sentences feel bold.
They land cleanly,
Long sentences wobble.
especially under stress.
So let's talk structure.
The hidden structure behind strong help asking.
3 parts.
Only 3?
That's it.
Okay, what's the first?
Context.
Brief.
1 line.
Not your life story.
Just enough to anchor the question.
Example?
I'm working on the client report.
That's it.
Second part.
Your intention.
Why you're asking.
Not emotionally, functionally.
I want to make sure I'm aligned.
Aligned is a powerful word,
It signals teamwork.
not confusion. Third part.
The actual ask.
Clear.
Specific.
Should I focus more on A or B?
Notice the pattern?
You didn't say, help me.
You guided the response.
That's control.
Asking for help doesn't mean giving up control.
It means directing it.
Here's something subtle.
Go on.
A calm tone forgives mistakes,
A nervous tone magnifies them.
which is why pacing is critical.
Slow down slightly,
Not dramatic.
just enough to sound deliberate,
Deliberate sounds confident.
even if the English isn't perfect. Let's address a common fear.
The boss question?
Yes,
People think,
if I ask my boss, they'll doubt me.
but bosses expect questions.
They worry more when there are none.
Silence can look like disengagement,
Or worse, false understanding.
which leads to rework.
And rework costs time.
Time is what managers protect,
So a good question actually saves them time.
but only if it's framed well.
Exactly. Let's contrast 2 approaches.
Okay,
First one,
I'm not sure what to do.
that dumps the problem.
Second,
I'm planning to do X based on my understanding. Does that match what you want?
huge difference.
You've already thought.
You're just validating,
That feels professional.
not needy.
Here's another mistake people make.
They over-explain,
To justify the question.
which weakens it.
Confidence comes from brevity.
Say less.
Then, stop.
Let the other person respond.
Silence again.
always comes back.
Because silence is where power sits.
If you can hold it.
One more thing before we move on.
Yeah.
Written help asking, messages, emails.
Even more dangerous.
Because tone disappears.
Which is why structure matters even more.
We'll break that down next.
Yes.
Because one badly written message
can undo a lot of good work.
Let's pause here.
Not stop.
Just mark the shift.
Because next,
we talk about asking for help without sounding unsure.
Especially in writing.
All right, let's move into the written side.
This is where most people mess up quietly.
Because nobody hears your tone.
Only your words.
And words without tone get judged harder.
Especially short messages.
Slack,